Hi, my name is Pinky Ghelani and you are watching Pinky TV. Today, this is What Women Want. And if you're joining us on Facebook, make sure you leave a comment. Let us know where you are watching from. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to this channel so you are one of the first to watch conversations like we're going to have today. And of course, leave a comment and make sure you share this as well. On this show, we have conversations with people about hope, resilience, and excellence. We aim to inspire you to find out who you are by internalizing the discussion that we have here today so that you can discover yourself. How? Well, I encourage you to watch this episode to find out. These conversations are brought to you by SBM Bank, and do not forget to watch all the way till the end to find out how you can win a phone from Safaricom. If you'd like to learn about how to have substance and grace, then my next guest will be able to shed light on just that. An educator by profession and involved in international education for almost 37 years, Radhika Lee left Kerala, India at the age of 24 to work as an English teacher in Kenya. She is an avid sports and arts enthusiast and has contributed greatly to the secondary school sports in Kenya. She's also been responsible for the birth of many schools' music and arts festivals in Nairobi. She is a compassionate, caring, and selfless educator who has touched many lives in Africa. She's also founded CATSI, the Cancer Awareness and Treatment Support Initiative. A great lover of nature, Radhika's passion for environment has propelled her to speak at many environmental conferences. She is hopeful in setting up the first green school in the region. Radhika published her autobiography, Rainbows in My Clouds, in November of 2015, and it was selected as a text study for the master's level from January 2016 by the University of Nairobi's Literature Department. In the years she has been working in Kenya, Radhika has been the recipient of many awards for her selfless work and entrepreneurial spirit that has resulted in the establishment of an organization that has ensured secure livelihood for very many citizens of the host country and Indian citizens as well in the last 10 years. She has been an inspiration for very many women, and her talks during SME conferences, family business forums, educators conferences, as well as environmental conferences such as the UNEA, Datasphere, and Engage. Radhika is also an active member of New Faces, New Voices in Kenya, and works closely with the Grasa Michelle Trust. She is my guest today, and it's an honor and a privilege to host you, Radhika Lee. I was like, when I saw your bio, there's so much you've done. This is just like a smidgen. It's just like a little slice that I had to sort of chop and put in here. Wow.
Happy to be here.
Wow. I mean, so much that you have achieved. I want to get into...
I hope I can achieve more.
I think you will. I think there's no you are unstoppable. You've been very open about your journey, and I'd like to ask you about that moment in your life when you realized that you no longer had to live in a difficult situation and you put yourself first.
Yes, the moment. What shall I say? I think for about 21 years of my life, married life, I did put up with a very difficult marriage because I had a husband who was very abusive with a lot of issues, psychological and addiction related issues. So because I believed in marriage, I put up with it and I kept thinking it's going to change, but it didn't. And the moment, like what you're saying, was when I realized that I could actually lose my life because it was repetitive, and the very last time I almost lost my life. If it was not for one of my house elves, I actually would have died at his hands. So that day, my son was still young and I felt I needed to leave that marriage for his sake. I didn't realize that it was actually for my sake as well, but lessons that I learned later taught me that it was also for myself. you know, that was the moment when I felt I may die. You know, it was a moment of reckoning that I needed to walk. Yeah. And I did actually. I didn't walk. I ran.
You ran.
I don't live very far, so I ran out of the house and I ran all the way to Jaffrey Sports Club, barefooted. Yeah.
So
because I didn't know where I was going.
There was no plan.
No plan at all.
You were running for your life.
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
What's the conversation that you have with yourself? What happens within your mind when it dawns on you that your life has changed?
No, I'm just grateful that at that particular moment, God gave me the grace to run and to survive that ordeal. And I never wanted to go back. I stayed with some friends for a few days, but then we definitely, my son said to me, "Mom, this is done. We're not going back."
How old was he?
16.
Okay.
Yeah, very difficult age for anybody.
So he saw.
Yeah, he grew up with that, and it has had its, effects on him too.
Mm-hmm.
Never easy for any child to grow up in a marriage like that, in a family like that. Yeah.
What let's go back to when you were a little girl. I know in your book you've spoken about your mother, but let's just find out a little bit about your childhood and what made you stay in a marriage that you knew was not good for you. What happened in your childhood that maybe was imprinted, that someone said or someone did that you don't, or you compromise, or you... Do you think it was something to do with the upbringing?
Yes, definitely. I think it's a lot to do with my mom. You mentioned my mom. She was my best friend, and everything I am, I think I owe it to her. She was married to the first son in a family of 10. And, she was the eldest daughter-in-law. So you can imagine in Indian families, especially when you're, living with everybody, how and what she must have put up with all those years. And I saw her day in, day out, the struggles, but she never once, said anything ill about being married or being in the situations that she found herself in. And there was so much importance for marriage. And I wanted to be like mom, I think. And that's why I stayed on.
Yeah.
I kept thinking it's going to change. All these, it's just passing phase. So it'll change, it'll get better. Yeah. But only in my case, it just didn't. Yeah.
Wow.
But I never got officially divorced, even after separation. Somehow, I think you just said it right. It is so imprinted, the sacredness of marriage, that I just couldn't go for a divorce or any of that. Yeah.
But you left him.
I left him to survive, to live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You said in your book, "The man I once knew was no longer the man I once knew." What goes through a woman who goes through abuse, and what advice would you give a woman who is unhappy in her present situation?
I would say, that is drawing from my own experience, I would say walk. You don't have to.
Yeah.
Because you keep thinking it's going to get better. Maybe 1 out of 100 may get better, but stats, they say that it's virtually impossible, especially if the man doesn't try enough. Like every time we went to rehabs, I had to literally force him to go to rehabs. I think all the psychiatrists in Nairobi, they know me.
Wow.
Whether it is 37 Mudangari Place, Chiromo Lane Medical Center, Nairobi Place, you name it. I have been to all of them with him. So we would sort of push him to go, and then he would go and be there for a month. And even in those days, it was so expensive. And I was just a teacher, Pinky, so you can imagine the financial burden it put on us as a family.
Yes.
But we tried again and again and again, but he would come out for a week, would be all nice, and then the second week, it's back to square A. Yeah.
Wow.
Because I think that will to reform, to change, it has to come from the person.
Him. Yeah.
And as long as, it's not there, there's nothing anyone can do.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, your life is precious. God has a purpose for it.
Yeah.
So to the women out there, I just want to say, if you're going through similar situations, please know your life has a purpose.
Yeah.
God has a purpose for it. So you don't have to try and keep quiet and live that life forever,
You brought up
Get
something
out.
very interesting when we were talking off camera, the mental health aspect, where you maybe felt that he had a mental health issue, and then of course coupled with the alcohol.
Yeah.
How important is it for us to take responsibility for our mental health?
Very, extremely. I think going for counseling, it's not something that should be considered as a shame, and that is something, only problem I have with that in Nairobi, and I'll be very honest.
Yeah.
I know there are groups that we belong to, and there are many psychologists and psychiatrists in it, but having gone to so many, I wish our psychologists and psychiatrists would stop looking at time, and they would do
They
it
charge by
to
the hour.
minimum 8,000 to 10,000 an hour.
Yeah.
And I feel people need help.
Oh,
and
yeah.
if you can truly, because it's not about you being successful as a psychiatrist or a psychologist. Can you be significant in people's lives? Can you touch their lives? That's what matters in
help
the end.
them. Yeah.
Yeah. So if people can keep aside time for people who can't afford that kind of
Yes.
money, to pay, they should do that, because people do need help.
Yes. People.
Because
really
I
do.
used to go to people who would just listen, look at the clock a few times while we're in session, and there's nothing that you're being told. They let you talk, it's your time to talk, but the vent itself is not enough. There are so many techniques that you need to, be given to deal with situations. I don't think that help is there. I had a very good psychologist, counselor, a lady, Pauline, and she's South African, but she used to work at, I don't know if you knew her, but she used to work at Nairobi Place.
Okay.
And she was our counselor family, and Pauline was fantastic. So even now, when I need to really connect and ask for help, I call her. She's in Cape Town, but I call her. Yeah.
You said that you never wanted to publish your book, and in fact, you just used to journal.
Yeah.
Is that
Every day I would just write stuff because I didn't know how else to get it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that a form of healing? Would you say?
Very, very cathartic.
Yeah?
It is, yeah.
And
For
would
me,
you
writing,
encourage people to journal?
Very much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Another thing that you've spoken about your journey, engaged Dadasphere. In Dadasphere, I know there was a lot of tears. Would you say that's also a form of healing?
Yes.
For you?
Yeah. If you can, I could never talk about it for years. I didn't. All my students thought I was this happy-go-lucky person because the moment I walk into school, I've just blocked the home scene completely out of my mind, and then I'm with the kids until I go home in the evening, and then the whole thing, reality hits you. But otherwise, at my workplace, that was my vent, work, escape, and then writing was my escape. But I never talked about it. But talking about these things definitely has a much more serious impact, I feel, to come out of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Dadasphere for me was really difficult. I couldn't be coached because I couldn't talk, even during the coaching sessions. But I told Valentine and Ronald to just let it be.
Yes.
That I'll do it because I wanted to do it. I wanted to see if I could talk about it. And I did. It was difficult, but I did.
And I think also you sharing your stories helps others heal.
Yeah. If you look at all the reviews and all the WhatsApp messages as well as Facebook stuff that I get about the book and what it did for people, that was the intention.
Yes.
You know, when I published it, I knew it was going to help a lot of people. Because don't play the victim. You know, I don't want anybody's sympathy.
Yeah.
You know,
it's not that. That's why you're sharing. Yeah.
Yeah. I just wanted to share my experience and tell them this is not the end. If you're in that bad situation, get out.
Yeah.
You know, you can make so much out of your life.
You really
I am a living testimony for that. That's what I wanted to say to people.
And I'm actually going to come back to that because you say something really beautiful. But first, I want to just talk a little bit about your mother. And in the book, how you say divinity personified. And the chapter where you talk about even now a whiff of jasmine and you're filled with nostalgia.
Because you would never find my mom without jasmine.
Without jasmine in her hair. What's it like to lose a mother? And what would you want to ask her today?
I talk to her every day.
Okay. Which is important also.
I do. I think she's
with you.
Or not, she's with me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I wake up, I have my me time, at least 2 hours. I don't talk to anybody. It's my me time. And I talk to my mom, even if she's not around.
Yeah.
I talk to her about, you know, how the day is going to be, whether she has any idea, you know, how it's going to turn out. And I just pray and hope with her, you know, that things are going to be okay.
Okay.
I know she's there. She's my guardian angel. Trust me, I truly believe in that. Every time I feel down, that's my go-to person even now.
What was it like to lose her?
A part of me.
Yeah.
The biggest part of me, I think I lost.
How old were you?
She died in 96. I was here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
Going through, she never knew because I didn't want to tell her about
what you were going through.
I didn't want to disappoint her. So I didn't tell her.
Wow.
Yeah. But I think she sensed.
I'm sure.
Holidays, you know, I think she sensed that things were not as they seemed.
Yes.
Because when you go home, it's all hunky-dory. You know, everything he's at his best behavior, at least when we were home. So, but she sensed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think mothers always they know. So, you know, you say that you don't know your potential until
you walk away.
You walk away and you find your purpose. And this is what happened with you now. Suddenly you walk away and you find your purpose.
Yeah, actually purpose I knew was working with children from a young age. I used to play teacher.
Yes.
You know, when kids
when you were little.
That was always
you were
my
always
thing.
the teacher.
Yeah, I always knew. And believe it or not, Pinky, my family, everybody's a doctor. Every other person is a doctor.
Indian family.
Yeah, you can understand that. Yeah, so we come from all my cousins, all my aunts, uncles. They're all doctors. So when I didn't go for medicine, that was a big deal in the family.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to. I was happy doing.
Did you get a lot of resistance?
Yes, I did. People commented.
Yeah. As they do.
Yeah. But I didn't care. And I'm happy I didn't go any other way but to become a teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you
because I feel with this I've impacted so many lives. I've touched so many lives, thousands.
Yeah.
And I have a very close bond with all my students. I'm not just a teacher. I know that. So that's why I know that was my purpose. And I truly believe this is my purpose. I think until my last breath, I do want to touch lives, children's lives. Yeah.
Yeah, because you're molding them and you're shaping them.
Yes.
You are a teacher in a bad marriage, you walk away, you find your potential, and you now discover, I don't only want to be a teacher. What is going through your mind? What is your plan of action when you now want to elevate?
Okay. I think it wasn't just a plan. I think it was also the circumstance, I would say.
Yeah.
You know, when they say when it rains, it pours.
Yes.
That's how it was for me then. Because I was working in an institution that didn't really value me even after years of being there. And there was a lot of racism, a lot of nepotism that I faced. And it was difficult. And when I was really down, like with a bad marriage and then, you know, losing your mom first, then
Yes.
I lost my dad in 2003. The following year, I lost my only brother,
Oh my
2004. So basically, in a span of a few years, I lost my entire family apart from my husband and Ash, my son.
Yeah.
So that was all that I had then, and my job. My job was so important. And that's probably why even that school did so well, because I pushed and pushed and pushed. And if you ask me, I think those were the years, that particular school, I don't want to name, but they were at the top. Like, you talk about academics, you talk about sports, you talk about anything arty, we were at the top then.
Yeah.
But you know, the management has to appreciate
Yes.
the work you put in, but they didn't. I think it's old colonial hang-ups people have here. So they saw me as this Indian woman, not a Muzungu.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, but yeah, I think some schools believe in having only Muzungu heads. So
Right. Right.
it was one of those schools.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately for me.
Oh no.
And then I thought, okay, if I'm not valued and the school is doing so beautifully, why can't I try? And then that's when the first seed of having my own school came into my mind. But I had no idea how I was going to do it, because I didn't have money. I didn't have anything. I didn't have the moral support. I didn't have money, nothing. And then I lost my job because they wanted a Muzungu head. And it was done very tactfully. I've written about it in my book.
Yeah.
My son came home one day with a letter that said, I've gone on leave. I've been asked to go on leave, medical leave, because I was fatally ill. I'm still sitting here. I didn't have money to sue the management.
Wow.
I would have. In this day and age, you know. So that was a real shocker for me.
Yes.
That after all those years of, you know, I gave myself to that school.
Goodness.
That they could do that.
Yeah.
And the day all parents got that letter, you know, my son was in the school, so he brought home that letter. And my phone didn't stop ringing because every other parent was calling, asking, Mrs. Lee, what's wrong? Are you ill?
Oh my
And I'm like, no, I'm not. And then one of the parents who called happened to be a secretary of the board at another school. And he was like, you know, I don't want you to do this. I don't want you to go through this again. Can you please come and head this other school?
Wow.
Which is right across the road. So, and I thought to myself, maybe it's God's way
Yes.
of telling me not to give up. And, you know, and I went to this other school and I changed that school around.
Yes.
I think that is my gift,
Yeah.
what God has given me,
Right.
my talent.
Yeah.
Yeah. And while I was working there, I attended a couple of Apple Educators conferences in Europe. One was in Vienna, one was in Geneva, and that was the turning point, really.
Okay.
Because when I went for those conferences, I learned things that I didn't know. And I was like, if only we can do this in Nairobi. And that's how the whole plan of an e-school came about. do you know now, this year with COVID, and everyone trying to get onto the bandwagon to become an e-school or offer online learning.
Yes.
Do you know we started it 12 years ago, Pinky?
12 years
12
ago?
years ago.
Wow.
So everybody at school, they're comfortable. It was seamless, the transition.
Really?
Yeah.
So, I mean, for you,
me,
it was there was no reinvention here.
No,
It was just,
nothing.
okay,
Yeah.
time has come.
Yeah. All we needed to do was just click on the Hangout Meet in the Google
Yes.
Classroom. Because everything else, every single child was online anyways.
Wow.
So for me, this was a year of revelation and people calling me a visionary. For me, that was just the most natural thing to do. And we had to start an e-school. And that's why I started NIS as an e-school. Yeah.
So it's important for you to, no matter what field you are in, and no matter, no matter how much you feel that you know, to continuously educate yourself.
Oh, definitely. Education is lifelong.
Really?
Yeah. It's a lifelong
You have to keep
process.
learning.
Keep learning.
And not be
Every
afraid
single-
to learn.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm a literature teacher. How did I get to be a techie?
Yeah.
I don't even know.
Yeah.
But I think this whole, the first, I still remember going to Vienna International School and seeing grade 3, grade 4 children with their iPads showing us projects. This was in 2006.
Wow.
And I'm like, wow, if these kids can do this,
Yes.
our kids can also do it.
Yes.
And I came back and I wrote proposals to the school management saying, can we please do it? And they sat on it. And I was just, it was like a
Itching.
fire
Yeah.
that was kindled already. And it was just burning there, just to explode. So when I saw they were not doing anything, I was like, no, you have to do this. So I looked for money. And I found money through a venture capital firm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How cautious are you, or rather how protective are you of your children, especially when it comes to, now you've gone digital and everything is e-learning, but there's also the social media aspect. And
Yeah.
are you educating your children on cyberbullying
Very much.
and how to behave
Very much.
online?
Yeah, very much. And we do have constant counseling sessions for safe use of
Yes.
social media especially, or of online, anything that is in the net,
Yeah.
So we have a very good firewall at school, so they can't access any social media, no YouTube, no nothing in school.
Mm-hmm.
The only students who can go on that are the media students, because a lot of their coursework requires that.
Right.
But otherwise nobody can access it. And we also have parents forums where we actually tell them all the softwares that they can put into the gadgets that the children use, so that they can monitor what is being. There's eSafe, there are so many. Even Kaspersky, they have a very good, home
Yes.
protection thing. Yeah.
Okay.
So parents have to be on it though. Yeah.
And with everything that you've gone through, how purposeful are you when teaching your children, or maybe, telling your teachers what they need to be teaching their children in regards to mental health awareness, how to treat each other, kindness?
Okay, so that's the other aspect of my school. It's value-based. Every week we celebrate a value. So this week it could be compassion, next week could be integrity, and then we give certificates and awards for children. They also do presentations, and we have one lesson every week that we call reflections. So that is the sharing time.
Mm-hmm.
Every class has that. And I think teachers that I have are brilliant. My team, I can't say how grateful I am that they're with me.
Yes.
Because they are people who truly understand me and what we want as an institution, and it's teamwork.
Right.
Yeah. So they every single moment I feel they know that they have to do the right thing by kids.
Yes.
Yeah.
What does it take within you to find the resilience to leave your country of birth, to come to Kenya, to leave your husband, stay in Kenya, and to now start a business? Where does that resilience come from?
God's plan. It's not what I make. It's definitely it's from God. I truly believe that in the calling and what He has destined for you. Yeah.
We were talking.
How did Pinky become the host of a show?
Yeah, I can tell you.
No, but I truly believe some of these things are beyond you.
They're divine. Yes.
Yeah, they are divine interventions, and it's God's plan
Yeah.
for me.
You'll always. Do you believe that we'll always find ourselves where we are meant to be, even if it's a shitty situation?
Yeah.
Really.
Sometimes you have to go through that shitty situation to get to where you are.
Yeah.
Your final destination.
It makes you who you are.
Yeah.
Do you believe
It
that?
molds you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you prepare your kids for shitty situations? Do you tell
Yes,
them that
we do.
it does happen?
And that's one thing I tell parents: don't ever
cushion
show them
everything. Yeah.
what is not. If you're going through financial issues,
Struggles. Yeah.
share with your children in a language they can understand, but let them understand. Because I know parents, even when they don't have, they struggle to give the very best to
Their children.
their kids.
Yeah.
But then you're living a lie. Don't do that. Share, but make them understand, because they then will value it more.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think honesty is the best practice, honestly.
It is, right?
It truly
But
is.
with every aspect
Yeah,
of your life.
yeah.
And even
And
being
do
honest
what you
with
can.
yourself.
Don't try, just because somebody came to school with an iPhone, you don't have to tomorrow go and buy an iPhone for your child.
Yeah.
Buy what you can afford.
Yes.
Yeah,
There's nothing wrong with that.
with that.
But somehow I think society is a bit broken that we judge.
But we keep talking to parents, and these are honest conversations we have during our parents' workshops. Yeah.
Okay. Do you think there will be repercussions with our children because everybody was forced indoors, everybody was forced to do e-learning? Is there something, because this has never happened before? In our times, there was never e-learning, because I always wonder, oh my gosh, if this had happened when I was in school, there would be no e-learning because we didn't have the technology. Do you foresee any repercussions when our kids
Very many.
if 5-10 years from now?
Very many.
Like,
Striking a balance is really important, and many people don't know how to. Because before even COVID, there were occasions when I, like maybe at Mediterranean or Java, restaurant,
yeah,
and you would see parents with children, and then they give them their
Phone.
tab or phone to play with, and you're out as a family.
yes,
But you want the kids to have their own
be busy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because you're with other adults and you want to have that time.
yes,
So you give phones, and I'm thinking, I want to scream from the other table, say, please don't do that. But
Right.
it's not my place, so I keep quiet.
yeah,
But that's so wrong. When will you make these children understand the values of being a family? Not when you shun them. Not when you give them, gadgets to keep them busy. And that has been my message, even though we are in e-school, that has been my message to parents all through. Can you find time? There is no electronics time. So you converse, you play, you do things together.
you learn each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to answer your question, whether this period of COVID and kids not being able to be in school and interact with their peers
Yes.
and friends, definitely. And that is my biggest worry out of all this.
Yep.
The psychosocial that they talk
Exactly.
about.
Yeah.
Because without interaction, how do you compare? How do you compete? How do you reflect? All these are important, and it only happens when you interact. And we've been just cut off, yeah?
Yes.
And what we do, even during our online classes, so if a lesson is 50 minutes, I've told the staff, teach only for 40, the last 10 minutes allow children to interact and talk, and you just be quiet, tell them to just be talking. They're seeing each other and they're talking.
Yeah, because right now it's just
so that's what's been happening in our online
nice.
Classes, especially with the little ones. They miss, because seniors can log on and talk,
have a chat,
but with the little ones,
of course, they're missing their friends. Wow. So, you keep talking about your unwavering faith, your guardian angels. Tell us about why we need to live in faith.
Oh my God, that's a hard one. I think it is faith that gives you hope. Yeah. Without faith, how do you muster the courage? How do you find hope? How do you see that light at the end of the tunnel? I don't know. I think faith is the foundation for everything.
Just going to your son now, how old is he now?
He is 31.
Is he married?
He is married.
What sort of a husband is he?
I think he is an excellent husband.
Is that your upbringing?
I want to believe that. I want to believe that I raised him well.
Yeah. Is he a father yet?
Yes, he is.
What sort of a father is he?
Very new.
Yeah? Oh, really? Still baby? Okay.
Yeah. But I think he won't make the mistakes his dad made.
Yeah.
That's my prayer.
I'm sure. Yeah. I'm sure. I think we learn a lot. And sometimes our parents show us what we can correct in our own lives. How are you as a grandmother?
Well, I can't really comment on it yet because I've not had a lot of, it's still very new. So yeah, I've not really had time.
But how does it feel? Do you look at yourself as a granny?
Well, I became a granny when a lot of my students became dads, I think.
Yes, okay.
So I've been a granny.
My husband being one of them.
Yeah, thousands of times.
True.
I've been granny already. And I have some of them in school.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yes, of course.
Yeah, my grandchildren already in school, many of them.
Wow. Yeah, so it's nothing new. It's just nice to see.
I think one thing you must also understand, your children are not your children.
Yes. Khalil, is it Gibran or Gibran?
And I truly believe that you raise them
even
well,
they come from
let
you,
them go.
They are not yours. And I
truly believe that.
Yeah.
Let them go.
Let them go.
Yeah.
Guide them, be with them, but
raise them well, but let them go.
Painful.
Very painful.
Yeah.
But you have to. Yeah.
Yes. I love talking to you. You're so calm and collected, and there's it's like I'm talking to my mom who had the same sort of ideas as you, same sort of visions as you. Yeah. It teaches you.
That's what life
teaches
does.
You. And it's so good that you are having an impact on future generations. So please keep it up.
I try.
Yeah.
I try.
These conversations are brought to you by SBM Bank. To better serve their retail customer, SBM Bank has centers of excellence that drive segment expertise such as women and youth, workplace banking, alternate channels, and diaspora space. Thank you so much. I'm so used to calling you Mrs. Lee. Thank you so much, Mrs. Lee, for being here. We, of course, would love to hear from you. We want to know what Mrs. Lee, Radhika has taught you, how you're going to have an impact on your children. So make sure you comment below. For your chance to win a brand new phone, all you have to do is subscribe. Subscribe to this YouTube channel. Subscribe to our newsletter, subscribe to Safaricom Postpaid. And I have all the details on the links below. Thank you so much, Radhika, for coming here and for sharing so much, for being so open and honest. It's difficult to have these conversations. And I think the more we talk about these things, the more we normalize it, and the more then it's no
Very
longer
true.
taboo.
Yeah.
And then people are saying, hey, this is happening to me, and they're able to help themselves. So thank you.
Very true.
Thank you
Thank
so,
you.
so
Thank you, Pinky, for
much.
having me.
On this show, we have conversations that aim to inspire, and we hope that it causes you to take a deep dive within yourself to find out who you are. Real power is always internal. Real power is self-love. Real power is from your core, and real power comes from authenticity. There's nothing like showing up as your authentic self. Find that person and show up as that person every day. The world will be grateful that you did. Don't forget to follow me on all my social media to stay updated on what's happening with this content and more. My name is Pinky Ghelani, and I thank you so much for joining me today. I'll see you again real soon. Bye.